It's Dave Johal for The Boxing Voice with Michael Hennessy Jr. How are you, Mike?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Dave. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good.
Good to hear.
How have you been during the pandemic? What have you been doing training-wise and keeping your spirits up?
I've been training real hard. Until last week, I was training how I normally would for a fight, but my dad pulled the reins a little bit and said, "Look, you're training too hard at the moment. Let's just do some fun stuff and tick over. We don't want to burn you out." So I'm doing some fun, interesting stuff. A lot of trying to do a lot of calisthenics, bashing the tyre with the hammer and all that sort of stuff, and of course, just trying to perfect my technique.
Good stuff. Brilliant.
Yeah, it's been nice.
Brilliant. Have you got quite a decent setup at home? Have you got access to all the bags and so on and so forth?
We don't have any bags at the moment, but we're looking to try and get one in, hopefully, because we obviously don't know how long this is going to last, and a bag would be useful. But I've just been shadow boxing, doing pads with my dad and all sorts. My sister's quite good with the sticks and stuff. I don't know if you see on my Instagram or whatever, but which she does all the Canelo drills with the the swimming wobbles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty good at that. So I've been doing all sorts of fun stuff, and I'm really enjoying it, to be honest. And we're very lucky to live out quite deep in the countryside, so I've got some really nice running routes. So for me, it's I can't really complain.
Yeah, that's good to hear, mate. To be fair, I mean, you're 3-0 at the moment, one draw. You were going to fight on March the 28th. After that, it was going to be a quick fight on the Alex Dilmagani fight on the 25th of April. So 2 fights in succession. I bet you were gutted, weren't you, mate, when the news broke out that no fights were going to go ahead at all?
I was completely distraught, Dave. I trained really hard for both of those fights. Obviously, they were in quick succession, and I was really looking forward to building on my last fight at the York Hall in November, because I was ill for that fight in the build-up, but I still felt there was a lot of progression made, because me and my dad went back to the drawing board and just started going back to basics and training properly. And I felt there was a massive, even though I was ill, there was a massive improvement shown, and we were just building on that, and I was really excited to sort of make a bit of a statement for myself. But it is what it is, and health comes first. And with this extra time, I'm going to make use of it and come back even better.
Who are the opponents going to be on both cards? Did you know much about them?
I didn't really, to be honest. I don't really know much about the opponents, but I know it's going to be a step up. I know it's going to be a good record.
Yeah, because I remember after your fight at the York Hall, your dad Mick was very impressed with your performance, and I think the next step was to build on that, wasn't it? Like you said.
100%. Yeah, I'm looking to. This year I was going to be looking to step up the competition a little bit and have quite a few fights, and then next year start pushing for titles. But that's obviously been delayed a little bit. So as soon as we come back, we will be upping the level a bit and upping the rounds, and pushing on. Brilliant.
And no doubt you've seen in the news over the last few days regarding Eddie Hearn's Matchroom setup at home. What are your thoughts on that? Does it look good to you?
I think it's a great idea. Yeah, 100%. Obviously, all the boxing fans are missing boxing at the moment, and I've seen Eddie Hearn's house before, and it looks unreal. Great backdrop and stuff, and if he could host some great fights there, that would be wicked to have boxing back on TV. Would sort my Saturday night out, that's for sure. So.
Yeah, no, that would be good. Has there been any talks of any fight announcements from Hennessy in terms of when the next fights are going to be scheduled for? Because we've heard from Matchroom. Bob Arum said I think it was yesterday, saying that Shakur Peterson, they're looking at bringing him out in June. Frank Warren's stable saying that the fight with Joyce and Dubois is going to happen in July. Any news on Hennessy when the first card will happen, do you think?
Yeah, there has been a few talks. They're looking at August, September time, behind closed doors, of course, in studios, in a closed off studio. But nothing is guaranteed. We've been told August, September, hopefully. We'll just be ready when the government approves and the board are satisfied. So as soon as they are, we'll be ready to put shows on 100%. And, but like I say, you can't be 100% sure because everyone's predicting a second wave with this coronavirus and stuff because a lot of people aren't taking it as serious as they should be. But only time will tell. Hopefully, fingers crossed, August, September time.
No, that would be good. And like you said as well, we need something to do on a Saturday night. It's getting quite boring out there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I'm just rewatching old fights now.
So you're campaigning at middleweight still, which is great. Loads of champions out there. Andrade, Triple G, Canelo, fights between middleweight, super middleweight, light heavyweight. There's Charlo in there. Billy Joe Saunders, middleweight, and also super middleweight. Who do you think is the best in the division?
In the middleweight division, without a doubt, I think Canelo is. He's my favourite fighter by a mile. And that's in all weights. So easy decision for me. Like I love watching him fight the Golovkin 2 fight because I think that was just a complete masterclass from Canelo against such a beast in Golovkin. Obviously it was a close fight, and certain people thought Golovkin won the fight, but for me, Canelo's skills were just incredible, and for me, he definitely had that fight in the bag.
Brilliant. And do you think that? Michael, I was just going to ask you if a trilogy between Triple G and Canelo was to happen. Do you still see Canelo beating him?
I see Canelo winning the third fight. Although both fights were incredibly close. A lot of people had Golovkin winning the first fight, and some even had him winning the second fight, which I disagree with. But when those two fight, it's anyone's to win because they're both elite. They're such elite fighters. They're both punchers, both got great chins, and both got incredible boxing ability. So, it's anyone's fight really. I just prefer the style of Canelo personally. But the middleweight division's excellent at the moment because there's so much talent. Andrade, he's been avoided for a while now.
Yeah.
Given his shot, you never know, he could upset the apple cart. Billy Joe Saunders as well, he's been avoided quite a lot. Very slick boxer. And so it's very exciting at the moment. Charlo is a great fighter. Hasn't been tested at the highest level yet, but you never know. He could rise to the occasion, so it's very exciting times.
I mean, listening to him between the lines, I think Canelo is the fighter that you aspire to be, would you say?
Yeah, 100%. I love Canelo. I study Canelo all the time.
Yeah, I mean, he's such a powerhouse and he can move and the combinations are lethal, aren't they?
They are, and what I love about him as well is like how good he is with his head movement and like avoiding getting hit. It's just incredible, really.
Yeah, I mean, it will be interesting, see what happens in the next few sort of months and just see if the fight between GGG and Canelo does get made, and do they do it a third time?
I feel like they should do it. I don't feel like they should do that one behind closed doors. You need a good atmosphere for that one, I'd say.
Oh, 100%.
Mega fight.
100%.
It won't be the same.
Yeah. You need fans there. You need the press there and everything. Talk to me about the good work you've been doing with the Knives Down, Gloves Up campaign. You and your sister have been doing that, haven't you?
Yeah. They just they had their big expo at the Bethnal Green. I couldn't attend that, unfortunately, but they're making big news and it's a great cause. Isaac Chamberlain's getting quite heavily involved, and they've just asked me to do a few stuff like the videos and stuff to help everyone keep active during this lockdown period. So yeah, any way I can help. Like, of course, like I've got enough time on my hands at the moment, as people do. So they're great people, and they're working on a great cause.
Yeah, it's good to see people actively doing stuff for the community. Just moving on to the heavyweight division now. I mean, there's talks of a certain Mike Tyson coming back on the scene. And Mauricio Sullivan has said as well, look, he's actually willing to give, the great Tyson a ranking as well. What are your thoughts on his return? Do you think he can cause upsets on the world scene again.
Well, like, I'm sure you saw that pad video, like everyone did, and he looks ferocious still. He looks like he's still got it, but but at the end of the day, age catches up with everything, and I feel like if he came back today, like he wouldn't. Of course, in his prime, he could beat anyone, but now coming back at his age, not been in the ring for so long, I don't feel like he could sort of, dethrone the top guys.
Yeah. I mean,
but he's a legend of the sport, and I feel like, maybe if he comes back for one fight to sort of, it'd be great sort of spectacle and stuff. I saw about him versus Evander Holyfield 3 or something like that. That would be incredible, but I don't think he should, he might come back and be unreal, but like I don't think he should tarnish his legacy. He's done what he's done in the sport. He's achieved great things, and I feel like he should probably leave it there.
Yeah, he definitely is a reason why a lot of people took up boxing in the first place, and hats off if he does return, and hats off if he does rock the apple cart a bit, because who knows what can happen.
Well, everyone will be watching that. I will 100%. I love watching Mike Tyson. Everyone does. He's one of everyone's favourite fighters. So fair play to him. And judging by the pad video, he could easily cause some upsets.
Yeah, well, never say never. I mean, George Foreman did it all them years ago, became champion again. So you just never know, do you? You just never know.
The other thing with the heavyweights is they seem to go a lot older than most other fighters, come into their prime a little bit later as well, don't they? So you never know. Yeah,
absolutely. Apart from the training side of stuff and planning what's to come in 2020, 2021, I hear you're quite a hand at Call of Duty. I spoke to Isaac Chamberlain and Alex Dilmagani about a month ago. You guys still playing? Who's the man on that?
You know what? I've been playing a hell of a lot, and it could ruin my boxing career. To be honest with you, I never had a PlayStation or Xbox before lockdown, and I thought with the lockdown it'd be worth investing in one. But I'm going to regret that when we start boxing. But I feel like Alex, he got onto it quite late, so I'd put Alex in third at the moment. And to begin with, I'd say I had Isaac, but I think we haven't played for a little while, and I think he's been on it. I think he's got a lot better, so I'd say Isaac's number one at the moment. I'm going to try and catch up on him.
Yeah, get them, get your rankings up, yeah?
Yeah, 100%. We're all very competitive because, the sport we're in is only natural, but it gets quite heated.
Good stuff. Michael, have you got any shout-outs for anyone, and where can people follow you?
Everyone can follow me on my Instagram and Twitter at mhennessyjr. I also have Facebook, just Michael Hennessy. And I'd like to shout out my sponsors, of course, Everlast. The original was 1910, best in the business in my opinion, and very lucky to be sponsored by them. I've always worn their gloves growing up, and it's a dream to be sponsored by them now. My strength and conditioning coach, James Blanchard, he's been writing me programs for my training while I've been in quarantine, sort of working with what I've got around me, which has been very helpful to maintaining my strength. Cryojuvenate, they've been there from the start, even in my amateur career. They're like always helping with my recovery for fight camps and stuff. So I'm extremely grateful for them. And I'm missing those girls. It's been a little while, but also Applied Nutrition, supplying me with all my supplements and my protein powders and stuff, and protein bars. They're great, and all my vitamins for boosting my immune system during this period. And last but not least, Vitae, the chiropractor. Mm-hmm. My friend Joe, he was helping me out a lot before. He's quite new on board. He was helping me out a lot before those two fights that coming up, and he's been really helping me out with my recovery as well. And I felt a big difference since I've been going to see him.
No, you've got a decent team behind you there.
Brilliant team. Yeah,
that's excellent. Michael, look, all the best from the Boxing Voice, and we'll definitely catch up in person once we're allowed to.
Yeah, for sure, Dave. That would be great. Come in person when we're all allowed out. That'd be great.
Yeah, once the shackles have been lifted.
Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.